personal terms are agreed between Arsenal. The two clubs are closing on this deal, and so new offensive midfielder. For Arsenal, it's really interesting to see where Mikel Arteta will play him in the team next season, but Arsenal are now securing this move. They're still working priority for the midfield. Gabriel Jesus, let's see what happens as a striker, but Arsenal are finally moving on the market.
Right, let's do some Arsenal and Villa chat, seeing as we've got the main man Dan Bardell in the building today. Dan, we heard that Arsenal have registered an interest in Aston Villa and England defender Ezri Konsa. According to the report, the Gunners have a long-standing interest in the player, and they've also got a long-standing interest in Morgan Rogers, who's being valued at £130 million these days. So it feels like Arsenal are very much looking at Aston Villa's squad and wondering if they can nab one or maybe potentially two. Let's start with the Konsa link, because that for me came completely out of the blue. That caught me off guard. I've heard of Arsenal having an interest in him in the past, but I didn't think it was something that would even be considered this summer.
No, when I first saw this morning, I did think it was a load of rubbish. And then I read Matt Law's report after I'd already spoken about it. And obviously I know that Matt is very clued up when it comes to Villa, and I'm assuming he will be in the London media as well. So there's obviously some kind of substance in it. The wording's very ambiguous. Like we were saying earlier about some of the wording that gets put in around transfers.
Yeah.
Like everyone's always covering themselves in case something doesn't happen. So I think the phrase I was always tentative interest.
Yeah, that's it.
So I just think, would he look, I said this to you earlier. Can Arsenal come and if they pay the money take players off Villa? Yes, they absolutely can. Will Arsenal get to the fees that Villa want for Rogers? I don't think so. I imagine Villa would want 50 to 60 million for Konza as well. I don't see you paying that, because he isn't going to come in and be better than Saliba, for example. Now, the Saliba back problem is obviously something that's factored into this, but you've already covered yourselves in terms of getting Mascara in 12 months ago, who's a really good defender, young defender with room to grow, who I think is capable of being a top Premier League centre-half. So, what's in it for Konza going to Arsenal?
I think the Arsenal concern around Saliba is a big factor here, because it's not just Saliba. Jurriën Timber had to pull out the World Cup with an injury. We don't really know too much about that injury, and there are suggestions that he might need to have some kind of procedure to rectify that. Ben White missed the end of the season and obviously missed the World Cup, because he probably would have gone in this England squad. Looking at it now, exactly, with a knee injury. We don't know exactly when he's going to be back. So I think a combination of Saliba having this problem, but probably also going deep into the World Cup with France. Gabriel probably going quite deep in the World Cup with Brazil. White maybe being out. Timber maybe being out. I think Arsenal are looking at that right side of their defence and thinking, we're really, really short here, even with Christian Mosquera. If Mosquera starts the season at right centre-back, who plays right-back? Or if he starts at right-back, who plays right centre-back? So I wonder if this is one of those stories where someone's looked at the broader picture around Arsenal's defence and gone, you know, Konsa's shown that he can play both positions at the World Cup. Maybe he's a good fit. There has been some interest in the past. Are we sort of doing a 2 + 2 = 5 kind of equation here? I'm not sure.
Someone just said this to me on social media as well, which is something I think you have to factor in. Like, sometimes agents are at play.
Yeah,
like stories come out. Konsa's got 2 years left on his Villa contract, so we're reaching the kind of danger zone of that contract now, where Villa should probably either sell him this summer or give him a new contract. And I'd be shocked if there wasn't negotiations going on behind the scenes for him to have a new contract, because by and large Villa have been really good at tying people up and getting people tied up to the contracts that they want in terms of their best players. I just think though, as soon as Saliba's back, you know you're not in the team, and is that appealing to Ezri Konsa? Like, Arsenal are a brilliant club, a club that are very, very attractive to a lot of players right now, a club that's grown in the right way, and you know the fans have finally got their rewards a bit. I know that maybe hasn't always been patience with Arteta, but
yeah.
you got to where you needed to be in the end, and you'll kick on from here and you'll win a lot of other trophies, because this team's grown together and got themselves to the point that they're at. And I actually also think Arteta's got a bit of a ruthless edge that goes under the radar when it comes to transfers.
Yeah,
like remember when we signed Raya?
Yeah,
Ramsdale
he'll
just
replace
bombed.
you. Yeah, if he doesn't think you're the answer, he'll replace you.
So I doubt this is what's going to happen, but if he's decided Mascara's not good enough, or he thinks we can't rely on Saliba injury-wise, let's shift him and get someone else in. Look, Konsa's very, very durable, but I just don't see you get into the fee. If Saliba stays, I don't see you get into that fee.
So you reckon 50, 60 million would do it for Konsa? Would that do it, or is that a kind
Probably
of starting point?
at 28 with 2 years left on your contract.
Yeah.
I don't think he realistically, as mad as the market is, and he's a defensive player, so the premium's not quite there. I don't think you could ask for more than that.
What about Morgan Rogers? Because I've had a lot of stick on social media over the last few days for suggesting that 130 million is crazy.
Yeah, because it is.
But two things can be true at once, right? I can think, and Arsenal can think, that 130 million for Morgan Rogers is crazy money. But Villa should also be well within their rights to say, no, look at the broader market. Look what's happening elsewhere. Actually, because of that, we're well within our rights to demand that money. Like, I think two things can be true at once. And I would love to see Morgan Rogers at Arsenal, but I fear that there's going to be stubbornness now on both sides. Villa are going to think 130 million is the absolute minimum we're going to take, and rightly so, and dig their heels in. And Arsenal are going to dig their heels in the way of saying, no, we're not paying that kind of money. So I think at the end of the day, I'm starting to think the chances of this are getting slimmer and slimmer. Where are you kind of at on it?
Again, if I'm to be brutally honest, if you made the right bid for Rogers,
what's the right bid in your mind?
I don't know what the fee Villa want, but it's reported is 130 million. Let's say Arsenal got to that number. Morgan Rogers isn't turning down Arsenal. He's going to say, thanks very much for everything you've done for me, Villa and Emery, but I'm moving on to Arsenal now, and everyone would shake hands. I think everyone would be reasonably happy for him. I think most Villa fans would kind of understand it, because they know that our financial situation is not the greatest because of the rules. But I think what the Elliot Anderson deal's done, it's completely skewed the market. I don't think Emery himself wants Rogers to go. He'll be absolutely licking his lips as soon as Elliot Anderson's made that move, because he'll know that's the number now, around that number for Rogers, because he's an attacking player. He's in the England squad slash team. Attacking players carry more of a premium. 5 years ago, Villa sold Jack Grealish in a similar kind of place in his career to what Rogers is in now, for 100 million. So 130 million, I think Villa will look at that and think, well, that's the market. That's what we've got the right to decide. And if you don't hit it, and maybe Villa sell someone else, or they don't sell someone else, I actually think Emery would rather go into this season with what he has and not lose anyone and not really get anyone in, than he would lose Rodgers and have to try and rebuild that way and bring a few players in, because doing that kind of thing never works.
It must be incredibly frustrating that you guys had such a good season last season. You won the Europa League, you finished in the top 5, and yet you go into the summer, I suppose, concerned about what happens to some of your best players and whether or not they stay at the club. Like, can you see a way past this point that Villa are at? Because it feels like it's a cycle at the moment. Have a good season, end up in this situation where the financial stuff is a problem. It doesn't feel like Villa have made too much progress from what I can see in terms of finding a way out of it. And I worry about that, because if you've got people at your club like Unai Emery, who's obviously very, very good at what he does, how long can you hold on to them when the circumstances are the way they are? And it's not even Villa's fault. Like, I actually think Villa have done a much better job of trying to find ways around this stuff than Newcastle have, for example, with all that wealth that they've got, yet they can't do anything. So I think Villa have tried everything that they can. They've exhausted all their options, but it must be exhausting to be in this position.
Yeah, look, I used to enjoy the summer. I used to enjoy the transfer window, the excitement of signing players. But for the last couple of years, you've just not been able to enjoy it at all as a Villa fan. And you mentioned us having like a good season last time out. We've had 3.5 good seasons under Emery. We've qualified for Europe every single season, qualified for the Champions League twice. And I keep picking on Tottenham because they're the team that's throwing a load of money at it at the moment. And I get it. They're playing by the rules that are there. Their revenue streams are through the roof, so they can go and spend money. I'm not having a pop at Tottenham. I'm having a pop at the rules, because the rules don't reward sporting achievement at all, and there's a number of teams that are happy to exist in the Premier League. Villa don't want to do that. They've got an ambitious manager that they want to keep, and they want to progress with him. They want to create a dynasty with this manager in charge. Yet every summer, the better he does, the worse the transfer market seems to be. He can't improve the squad. He can't build on the success and the achievements that he's already had at the football club. So it's really, really frustrating and annoying, because Villa are in this transfer no man's land where we can't do what the big six are doing because we haven't got the revenue streams, and we're never going to have those revenue streams because they were built in an era where the rules were pretty flimsy and clubs could do what they want, whereas we're trying to be a good side in an era where there are rules and there are consequences if you don't hit the targets or the metrics that you need to hit. But then we also can't go and spend what